Donald McNaughton Stewart, pioneer Dunedin's beloved minister and civic leader whose home life was a sad and tragic mess.
When Donald McNaughton Stewart died in 1894, the whole city turned out to honour his passing in one of the largest funeral processions ever seen in Dunedin. The big-hearted Highlander, the founder of Knox Presbyterian Church, had overcome all those petty differences that seemed to divide the pioneer population of Dunedin and had truly become someone who belonged to all. Donald was born in 1819 in a small stone cottage here in the hamlet of Styx near Kenmore. He was the eldest of non-identical twins, and his father was a builder, stonemason and later country dealer, while his mother was the daughter of a tenant farmer. Now originally his surname was spelt Stewart, S-T-E-W-A-R-T, but he later changed it to the more royal version, S-T-U-A-R-T, and he also added his mother's maiden name, McNaughton, to his own. Now Donald grew up in a Gaelic-speaking household, but his father ensured that he also had a good education in English by hiring a tutor to teach him. Improving his English was also the rationale behind a very unpleasant year in Stuart's youth when he was sent to live in a small hut with English-speaking farmhands who unfortunately bullied and mistreated him. Returning home to Kenmore, he studied maths and classics at the local parish school until 1834 when he headed down to the lowlands to seek work as a teacher. From 1837 he operated his own school at Leven, offering night classes to paying students.
In this way, he saved enough money to begin university studies at St Andrews in 1839.
It was a challenging time for the young man here in the hallowed halls of Scotland's oldest university, tempted by drinking, card playing, chasing girls, while also wrestling with his own sense of deepening spirituality and his attraction for the evangelical faction of the Church of Scotland. It was no doubt these early struggles that helped him later in life develop that famous tolerance for human failings and foibles.
When the Great Disruption of 1843 led to the splitting of Scotland's Presbyterian Church, Stewart was firmly in the camp of the breakaway Free Church. As a student leader, he came into conflict with university authorities over church reforms and was expelled from St Andrews. This harsh official response was quickly rescinded, but Stewart was scarred by the experience and wouldn't return.
Instead he studied theology at the newly established Free Church Theological Hall, now known as New College, but not yet then in this beautiful building, till his funds ran out and he was forced back to teaching.
This took him south to England, to Upton Park in Slough, which was a preparatory school for Eton College. When the school principal committed suicide in 1845, Stewart was called upon to take his place. This required him to attend Anglican services and broadened his religious outlook. Stewart was still set on completing his theological training, but now did so in England. Meanwhile, life at the school drew him closer to his employer's daughter, Jessie Robertson, and he asked to marry her. Jessie's widowed mother insisted he become an Anglican first, but Stewart refused, so marriage had to wait for Jessie to reach her 21st birthday.
In 1847, he returned to Edinburgh to complete his training as a Free Church minister. In 1849, he was appointed to the parishes of Falstone and Kielder, just south of the Scottish border here in Northumberland. Then in 1850, when Jessie reached full age, they were married and she returned with him to the manse. And over the next 10 years, Donald and Jessie had 3 sons together. He later described those years here in Northumberland as perhaps the happiest in his life. But as his family grew, the parish struggled to pay him adequately, and Donald reluctantly began to look for alternative opportunities elsewhere.
Far off Dunedin was meanwhile looking for a new minister to lead a second Presbyterian parish to ease the heavy burden falling on Reverend Thomas Burns at First Church. Their ideal candidate would be someone who could provide a contrast to Burns's narrowly Free Church brand of Presbyterianism and cater for the large number of Dunedin settlers from diverse Presbyterian and Protestant backgrounds looking for a different style of worship.
Stuart's experiences in England made him the ideal candidate. In 1859 he was called to be the founding minister of the new Knox Church. The family set sail from London on the Bosworth and arrived at Port Chalmers at the end of January 1860. What followed was a magnificently successful 34-year ecclesiastical career, during which Stuart's benevolent pastoral approach made Knox Church the premier congregation in Dunedin. From 1876, it was housed in this neo-Gothic masterpiece by R.A. Lawson. Stuart's generosity, tolerance and practical aid to Dunedin's social outcasts made his name a byword for genuine Christian charity. He also contributed enormously to other aspects of civic life, particularly education, providing a guiding hand to the city's boys and girls secondary school from their formation. He also helped establish the University of Otago, New Zealand's first university, in 1869. And he served on its council from the beginning, was its inaugural Vice-Chancellor and then Chancellor from 1879 until his death in 1894, aged 75. This magnificent contribution to Dunedin's public life was unfortunately matched by a tragic home life. Stuart's wife Jessie died after just a couple of years in the colony, leaving him to bring up their 3 sons alone. He suffered great heartache when 2 of them developed into adults with serious drinking problems, while the third, a serial failure in business, had his marriage fail, and he then abandoned his own son to Stuart's care while he emigrated to Australia. These disasters in his private life were well known to his congregation, who thought none the less of Stuart for them. Rather, his personal experience of suffering made him more approachable, less judgmental, and altogether much more sympathetic as a pastor. No wonder there was such an outpouring of grief when he died, because Stuart was undoubtedly Dunedin's favourite man of God.